So I'm making a game called Quest Runners. What is exactly Quest? Quest Runners is basically a fantasy world invented by me based on fantasy aspects we already know, like dwarves, elves, orcs, but yeah, you know the old fantasy and all the adaptation of this. This is what I'm called the old fantasy. The fantasy everybody of us know. And Quest Runners has also different curious figures in it, really toony world of crazy people and crazy creatures, with a little new spin. I just want to put a new spin on it. By developing this world of Quest Runners, I make researches about really old mythological fairy tales around the whole world. So I don't stop looking in our European culture. I also expand and looking for the Osmanic kingdom from the past, also the Asian, also the Nordic. My research is going everywhere, collecting all this information. At the next step, I give a new interpretation to all these. Also a new interpretation to already made interpretations of the whole fantasy. So, give me an example. On the one hand, we have this little figure. It's a dwarves, and I just took them and made something different out of them. And I just throw some new ingredients into it, and then I cooked, and then I formed it, and I checked, okay, this is cool. And the new thing I made out of a dwarf are my dwergs, so-called dwergs. They are big figures, maybe 2 meters or even bigger, and they are coming from the dwarves. So I have also dwarves in my fantasy lore, but they're gone. This is nothing new. We also have this concept, like, I guess, is it in the Elder Scrolls, where you have also, I guess, dwarves, and they vanished. So we have the same Quest Runners, but the difference is that these dwarves are not vanished, they just evolved into a new race. The new race are the dwergers. Also I thought about, okay, I don't want to have elves in my fantasy world. I want to have something new, something like it's feeling like an elf, but actually it's not a well-known elf. I get inspired by creatures made not of flesh but of plants, and yeah, also I invented the Dryads. How do you say, call it them? Dryaden? Dryaden in German. Kind of like of elves, but not actually really elves. So we have also many different other crazy creatures in this world. That's basically Quest Runners in a nutshell. But you have this weirdness and also rules in the world. Just to make a new living world you can also believe. The idea of Quest Runners started back, I guess it was about 10 years ago, or maybe, no, it was 10 years ago, I guess. Where I draw the little comic page. It was just a short cartoon with no narrative in it, or maybe not a very deep one. And also I didn't finish it, but this was the first sheet I draw and called it Quest Runners. I don't know why. Then there was a situation. Maybe you already heard about this 24-hour comic challenge, where you have to draw a 24-page long comic in 24 hours. So I participated here in my country. I went to an event, and yeah, I made it. I draw a 24-page long comic called the Titan of Esmeralda. There I invented two main characters, Hank and Faye. Faye is the main character, Hank is the sidekick of Faye. And I really liked them, I really liked them, and also this was already a fantasy-like story I draw in a fantasy-like world with kind of like of new interpretation. And then I made this connection between my first comic page called Quest Runners and my 24-page long comic called The Titan of Esmeralda. And I just combined them, like I combining everything to make something new. And so yeah, Quest Runners was born. And I had this little baby, and I saw it and I was happy. I fell in love with this baby, and I wanted to see it grow. I wanted to this baby become a child. And so from this moment on I started to work on this world. I started to make rules and to invent more creatures, to build a living world out of it. And so that's Quest Runners basically. Yeah, it's a new kind of fantasy interpretation. My fantasy interpretation. I'm glad you were here watching this video. You invited to be a part of this world and to become a runner, so stay tuned and see this project grow. Bye bye!